Welcome, Black Hollywood Live fans. On today's Fit Club, we talk alcohol, cannabis, and more with Budtrader CEO Brad McLaughlin and NBA champion John Salley. Stay tuned for more.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Welcome, Fit Clubbers. We are back with another exciting episode of Fit Club. We are joined by two special guests, our CEO of BudTrader, Brad McLaughlin, and NBA champion John Salley. Got to thank you guys for joining us, and you for returning. Thank you. It's been a while. Glad to have you back.
You know, when he asked me, I was like, I don't know, maybe.
Like, I've seen that kid too much. I'm done.
Yeah, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for being here.
And I'm a shareholder of BudTrader.
Yes. So
Just thought I'd mention that.
Yes, you've gotten on track.
Thank you very much, Sean. We appreciate all your help.
Thank you.
Well, we got so many issues to talk about. Of course, marijuana and fitness. But let's just jump into it. Our first story of the day is about the new study talking about alcohol and how even moderate drinking raises your stroke risk and your risk for cardiovascular disease. Previously, it was thought it would have no effect on cardiovascular disease or even might have a protective effect. And now studies are coming out to show that that may not be true. Recently published in The Lancet. And apparently, even 1 to 2 drinks can raise your stroke risk 10 to 15%, and 4 drinks even 35%. Just wondering how you guys have navigated, especially for you in the NBA, and between drinking and then all these different things that might be at someone who's young and in a place on that platform. How did you kind of avoid some of those pitfalls? And then what did you think about alcohol as you were playing in terms of your performance?
Well, I didn't drink until I was like 32 years old. I'm 54 now. I didn't drink until I was 32. I got into the wine business. I'm now in the champagne business and the cannabis business. But as far as drinking, it makes all the sense in the world when you talk about hard liquor. Not only the thing about heart disease, but the reason it is heart disease is because it puts so much stress on your liver, on your kidneys, on your lower intestines, that most people drink that, become dehydrated, and then eat bad food, become more dehydrated, which adds to cancerous and blocked arteries. So it's a bunch of things that go along with the alcohol. Plus, alcohol has been allowed or looked upon as something that is I guess a torch. You pass on at 21, you can now drink mentality, and it's a mentality that's been pushed for 100 years now. 1919 is when they started realizing they can make money off of the demise. The difference with cannabis is this is a healthier alternative, and it is definitely better for you. And I believe a plant-based life, so everything I do literally stems from the plant.
Nice. And you, how did you kind of negotiate your relationship with alcohol, and is that how kind of marijuana started to play a role in your life?
Not exactly. I broke up with alcohol a long time ago, in 2008. I come from an Irish Catholic family, and I wanted to, I didn't want to go down that path of drinking too much or whatever. And also because, in my opinion, alcohol is stupid. Like, you get drunk, you fall down, you barf, you say dumb stuff, you get arrested, you get into bar fights. Like, you make poor decisions, like, when you're drunk. Like, at least when you're high, like, I feel like you make better decisions, probably funnier decisions, and, like, more loving, decisions. I've never seen two guys, like, high on weed ever get in a fist fight.
Yeah.
Or ever, like, fight over darts at a bar or, like, a pool game or whatever. So I definitely advocate for people to not drink because I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then the next day, your day's wrecked as well. You can't do anything because you're, like, hungover and you're feeling sorry for yourself and regret all your decisions the night before. So, like, if you're of age, like, I think weed's the way to go, 100%.
And one of the things that was concerning for me was that, it's actually been shown, or not shown, but people have said that there's a protective effect, and now it's just like, wait, it's not the same. And I know that you're involved with sort of Green Space Labs.
Yes.
And I want to talk a little bit about how the testing now, so that we don't have a situation where in 10 or 15, 20 years we might be like, oh, wait, the science now says something different.
Well, this is the deal. Science is always evolving. Or maybe not. I just got back from Egypt, so I realized we have been going backwards, not forward. But this science on this plant, this plant has been known, this cannabis plant has been known to have healing effects We don't like using the word healing or curing effects, but it's been known to have those effects. The body does not have a drinking cannabinoid system. It has it has an endocannabinoid system, which matches the plant. The things that people may have put on the plant to enhance the grant, that's why I'm wearing this Pure Crop 1 hat, we literally are in the way. We have figured out to have a pesticide, herbicide that is plant-based, that doesn't harm the environment, that doesn't harm the plant. Matter of fact, it enhances the vibration of the plant. And I don't believe in killing anything. So everything should do as it's supposed to do on the planet. So the insects are supposed to eat plants, but they just won't eat our cannabis plants that use Pure Crop 1 because they only eat the plants that vibrate at a lower level. And you don't want to eat the plants that vibrate at a lower level. Idea, me being a vegan, like raw vegan, is if I get a carrot and it bends, that carrot is done. It's now chopped up and sent to the squirrels so they can eat it. Because they can make up that fiber. The fiber and the life of it is gone. So I believe in enhancing life of everything we do, and especially when it comes to this plant. I had a conversation with a guy who has a very, very well-known magazine. I won't say the name of it. And he wanted to say, well, I would like to put you on the cover, but we can talk about the digital and not the cannabis. And I was like, I'm not going to be involved with a magazine that is archaic in their thinking.
Yeah.
That's that.
Well, I like that commitment. But I think it's so important to have that commitment so people get the full story, and like you're showing your authenticity first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then also too with the alcohol, beyond like just knowing how it affects your body. So just even if you don't know everything that's about everything, you ingest alcohol, even one glass of it. Like I used to do it before bed, and the next day was just not quite the same as when I didn't do it. So it's just like, why would you do stuff that's gonna harm you on a daily basis?
Because they were really good at marketing.
Yeah,
It's true.
And we have tied it to these things where it's sort of tradition, and we tie it to these positive aspects of our life and memory and culture, but it's not necessary, and it's actually hurting us.
Yeah.
So, but one thing you mentioned about the carrots, I love that whole idea, because our next story is about what we aren't eating is actually killing us.
Yeah.
And this surprised me. The biggest risk factor for death in the world is poor diet. It's not smoking, it's not anything else but poor diet. And so people and in the United States alone, what's really killing us is the lack of whole grains. So in other parts of the world, it's different areas of the diet, but here in the United States, it's the lack of whole grains because we're mainly eating processed grains. And so people, what they should know is that a whole grain includes the entire part of the plant. That is the bran, the germ, and the endogerm. And so the endosperm. So you want to make sure you're getting the whole grain and not processed grains. How do you guys regulate that? For you, how do you try to make sure you're getting the best? You say you are raw vegan?
Yes.
Wow. And then how difficult is that?
It's not. Let me tell you, it is so much. It's so much better that last night I went to sleep at 10 because I was tired, and I woke up at 6:10 when my wife kissed me, and I think I got out of bed at 6:30. Now I went to bed at 10. There's not many men over 40 that don't wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom. And the reason is as you get older, our prostate starts to inflame. I work with the Prostate Institute, and one of the things with men is they have to realize you're going to have or die from prostate cancer at one time in your life. But I'm not saying I'm going to keep you away from it. It's just things that you could have that help your prostate and helping your prostate stay at a small and not inflamed. And inflammation in your body already causes all kind of problems. The things I do, and you're right, we do good grains, but we are humans, and humans are fiber eating. So when people ask me, as a vegan, where do you get your protein? I say the same place the cow got it from, green leafy vegetables. So everything that comes from protein and what builds muscle are amino acids. Where the amino acids come from are from the plant. So we need to eat more fiber as opposed to the next thing. Now, when they speak about grain, they're going to mention wheat. Wheat is genetically modified, period. And there's no wheat that we can find that's not. They're growing all of the food that you literally should be saving the world from hunger and feeding animals that are destroying the planet, that are enslaved on top of it. So I do this. I have a handful of pumpkin seeds, a handful of almonds, a handful of cashews, and a handful of sunflower seeds every day.
Are
And
they?
they're organic.
Are they? It's no salt.
No, I don't have salt. I eat it raw.
Okay.
And the deal is how you get out of the salt. I can help you with the salt. So I got Celtic sea salt. And you put a little bit of Celtic sea salt in your hand, you put it on your tongue, and you literally hold it on your tongue for about 5 minutes, swishing it around your mouth. What that does is release about 80,000 different minerals that you haven't been getting from the salt. Once you do that in the morning, you now need salt or nothing. Because when you eat it, your body will give you that feeling that you don't need to salt it. You don't have to do it.
What?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things like I spoke about.
I ate a bag of those like goldfish crackers on the way here in the car, and I feel so guilty right now. Like, those orange ones with the salt on it.
Hey, let me just tell you, you didn't eat fish with salt on them. You ate about 42 different chemicals, right? But that's fine because the human body. Like I say to people all the time, a fish cannot swim in clean water. It can swim in fresh water, but not clean water. So not every time am I going to have something that's not organic, or every time am I going to have something that's not processed. My body is designed. The reason I design it or keep it as it's designed, close to working as a 1964 Mustang in mint condition should be, is I feed it the gas it needs, I give it the oil it needs, I give it the love and the care it needs. I don't add rims to it, put smoke windows, add things in the windshield. I take care of this 1964 mint condition Mustang.
Nice. So one thing I wanted to add was so the topic was that a majority of the population suffers from malnutrition, so they're not getting enough food. So,
Yeah, 11 million people are dying a year because of poor diets.
Right. So we know that we can't feed them with animals. Like plant-based is the future, and we talked about there's a lack of grain, but grain's genetically modified. Like we could feed the world with hemp.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could do it today. Like we could solve every one of our major world issues and here in the United States issues with hemp. Like we could power, every automobile with hemp fuel. I mean, we could feed people. Hemp flour is high in protein. Like we have the solution right here, and we finally have the ability for farmers to grow it legally and for it not to be considered a Schedule I narcotic. So it's like we're making progress, and I guarantee you, like our industry, the cannabis industry, like is going to save the world in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Because there's too many of us, and we're united now. Like, not to plug the site, but like that's what BudTrader's done. Is it's brought the cannabis community together. And I talked to people that are trying to solve these problems, like ideas like growing hemp in Hawaii. So now they have building materials, and they can not have to import them, and they can build infrastructure. And
BudTrader.com?
BudTrader.com. It's free, but it's something where, and John and I talk about this all the time. It's like you have to have this re-education process with like elected officials, members of the media. This just trying to explain to them that this plant was the victim of bad marketing for years, or a hit campaign, whatever you want to call it, and there's all these applications for it to feed the world, to save a lot of, save the world.
Yeah.
What he's saying is hemp literally has the use of 200 different things, even building blocks, like he said, which is stronger than concrete.
Wow. And so we finally get that legal now in the recent farm bill. And you recently, during the government shutdown, made an offer to the workers that were suffering from the shutdown to offer them, free weed, essentially, just whatever they needed to medically get
cannabis.
Free cannabis.
Yeah, and we did, and I got a lot of flack for it, and we have advisors and lawyers, and they you can't do this and whatever, but it was like these people. There's 1 million people, and they're out of work over something that isn't their fault. I know this isn't a politics show, and I'm not trying to talk politics, but there's 1 million people that aren't getting their checks. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know what kind of human being I would be if it wasn't for weed. Like, I would be a terrible person, you know? Like, I'm anxious, and I'm awkward, and I'm stressed out, and it just, like, I can't imagine them worrying about not getting their checks and also not having, being able to purchase cannabis. And then everybody's like, well, government workers, they get tested for weed or whatever. They're probably already smoking, dude.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be tested.
They shouldn't be tested.
They should be tested for alcoholism.
Yeah, and I would say not even worry about smoking weed, but really it's about worrying about your mental health, because it's really about self-care. And obviously, if you're out of work, it's going to be compounded by that. So I thought that was such a great offer, and I think it should have highlighted or led to a better conversation about mental health and how we're going about it, from that to like guns in schools and everything. I think that's one of the biggest things we're missing in this country, that mental health conversation and action, I guess.
Well, and part of it too is like, so we had like quite a few people that work for the government that walked in to our office. Like we had walk-ins in San Diego, and most of the people just wanted to talk and to vent and to say thanks for not forgetting about them and for trying to look out for them. And
We had food and drinks for them.
we did, and it was like one of the stories was like a government worker didn't have money to pay for a dog's pet medication, and I was like, I have 3 dogs, and that sucks, and you're not getting your check over something that you can't really control, and that's frustrating. So we had like CBD dog treats and stuff like sponsors had sent in. So it's like I feel like at least we helped that one person and tried to do some good things. I mean, it wasn't the joke that like Jimmy Fallon made it on his show or whatever, you know. Like it was a sincere, like, if you guys need help, we'll connect you with people in the cannabis community. We found quite a bit of like government workers, a cannabis doctor, they could talk to them about symptoms or whatever. We connected them with, you know, dispensaries or delivery services that were sympathetic to like what was going on. So, you know, it was one of our stories that kind of went viral, and I didn't expect it to, because it was more of just like a sincere offer to help. I mean, I know I can't help a million government workers. I wish I could. I wish I was like the weed Santa Claus and I could just, or weed Oprah, right? I feel like that should be like, if Oprah Winfrey Network, if Oprah Winfrey Network's watching, that's what we need to do. Like, instead of giving away cars, let's give away bags of weed to all the government workers.
You are sort of the cannabis Oprah, and every 420 you are the cannabis Oprah. You got the BudTrader Ball coming up.
I'm so excited for this.
Is the camera running? I just want to be able to, what'd you say, the cannabis Oprah?
Yeah.
I just, if I could be in the same sentence as her, and it's like documented.
Imagine if we got Oprah high.
Oh, man.
I think Oprah smokes already.
Oh, really?
I think Oprah smokes weed, and I think she wants to say that she smokes weed, but she can't, and I get why she can't, and I understand, but it's like, I feel like we're getting to a point where like eventually Oprah's going to be like, I smoke weed.
She probably has like a THC tea. I feel like she sips on some THC.
I don't think she's doing dabs. Like, I think it's like she might.
Her and Gail are chilling, like, I can see it. Yeah.
You did really good on that R. Kelly interview, fam.
Or maybe like a little vape, like something cute to keep in the purse.
For sure.
Oh, gosh. Too funny.
I love you, Oprah. I don't mean no disrespect, but
but I think a lot of people, I mean, if they're following you, they know that you're involved, but they might be surprised to learn that you're involved in the cannabis industry. How did that come about? And I want to hear a little bit more about Tyla and how she's running, your daughter, how she's running this cannabis company that you guys have founded.
Well, I have a very smart, all my daughters are smart. And but Tyla literally was in college and was like, what they're going to teach me in college, I'm not, I think this is cool. It's cold in D.C., maybe I should be back in California. But she wanted to go to school in Europe, which we should have did in the first place. But she came back and decided that the money that was going to be toward her education should be toward her business, because she realized if you're an American, you're not an entrepreneur, you're going to be crying broke pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So we started a cannabis company with a company out of Denver first. We then didn't go through with that, and for 2.5 years we've been literally learning where we want to fit in. We decided to start with pre-rolls, which I just got a picture of. I'll send it to you so you can put it up. And we're going to be pre-rolls in California, and I think the next move would be have a new way to administer CBD into the system. I don't want to talk about it. I want to just show it when the time comes. And after that, it would be gummies, because those are the things that people are looking for.
Yeah.
And there'll be vegan gummies, just in case you're wondering. But in doing that, she was very particular. She is, if you're going to have a cannabis experience, it shouldn't be one that you say, oh, I smoked weed one time, I'm never going to do that. Mm-hmm. It should be such an enlightening thing that you have to look and start thinking of everything you thought you knew. And that's because the weed that we have in our joints is premium quality weed. We get it out of Jack Harrah. It's a well-known brand. They have the genetics for us. We just lined up with a grow out of Santa Rosa, which is close to 100 acres. And in about 2-3 years, we'll be able to have our own genetics come out of our own farm, and we will literally be from seed to sale. But throughout the country, we partner up, we license. Tell the girl is smart. We license our brand, we market our brand, and we literally are shooting a show of the making of this brand. And you get to see her beautiful face, and you get to see great weeds. It's like Anthony Bourdain, but we have weed. And she has a great attitude and a great personality.
You see what happens? You support your kids into what they want to do and don't force them into something else.
Yeah.
And end up with an indictment. But I had to go there.
Oh, goodness.
One thing that you mentioned, sorry to interrupt you, that's interesting is like a lot of people I know that were like former cannabis enthusiasts, like maybe in college or something, they might have had a bad experience with cannabis back then. It was something like they got paranoid or they had hypertension, like they feel like they couldn't breathe or shortness of breath or whatever, and, some kind of awkward experience. And we kind of know now that could have been from pesticides and stuff being added to the plant. And it's interesting to see people when they kind of come back, because we have things in place like lab testing and requirements now. It's neat to see them have that second experience where they kind of go in like thinking that I'm not telling the truth or whatever, like, hey, give it another shot, it's different now. And then when they do, they're shocked because they're like, how could I have had such a negative experience at one point, but now it's like with quality brands that don't, put pesticides or whatever in their products and pass, say tests, like, and, take pride in what they do, like they have an amazing experience. People ask me all the time on, online or when we do talks or whatever, like, do you think cannabis has made you smarter? And it's like, I don't think it's made me smarter, but it's made me more connected to the world. Like when I don't smoke, I'm not present, I feel like, or I'm unplugged. And I'm just kind of on autopilot. So it's just it makes me see and experience the world, I think, the way we were meant to see it.
It's like almost like open up a third eye type thing.
I think, and it's like, to me, it's not about trying to consume as much as possible or get wasted. Like, I got stuff to do, but it's like I'm present when I'm doing what I got to do.
It does open up your pineal gland, and the different part is it helps release different receptors inside your brain, which connect to your memory, and what they consider to be smart is how much you can recall and how quick. That's what an IQ test is, right? If you can recall it and you know it and you lived it, you rate higher on an IQ test. So if your brain is open and your memory is in place and you're in a state of euphoria, you're going to be smarter.
100%. And it's funny you mentioned that, because like I do what I consider is like a controlled setting where if I have big problems or something on my mind, like I'll smoke or I'll take an edible and I'll take a long shower, I'll lay down and kind of just think about whatever it is that's jamming me up or stressing me out or causing me to come to a halt, because I'm dealing with all this stuff. And it's like, for some reason, when I use cannabis, it's like I can see clearly, and all that other bullshit in my brain, forgive me for saying that, but like it's all that mess just goes away. It's like all the fear or stress or anxiety or just voices in the head, it's all gone. And then all of a sudden it's like I can see for the first time.
See, and when you eat vegan, you don't have to worry about bullshit.
Hey, it was because of the goldfish on the way here.
I hear you.
So Jenna on the chat, she says, I don't smoke, but it's funny, some of the smartest people in my nursing class do.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting too, is like they call it the canna closet or like the cannabis closet. Like there's so many people that like maybe aren't ready to admit that they smoke. And there's a lot of us, and it's like I've been in like meetings with like these investor guys or these Wall Street guys and stuff, and they're all like at the table like, well, I don't know about all this cannabis stuff. And at one point I'm like, guys, let's all just cut the crap. Like, you guys all know, and you probably all smoke, so let's just talk for real. And it's like I think that a lot more people than everybody thinks uses cannabis, in one form or another. And it's not just there's CBD and there's
Well, I think one of the issues that we have is that I think some people say, well, no, I got super anxious or I got this way, and it was a bad experience. So one of the things I want to address is kind of what are the different strains? How does someone who's sort of kind of new to this go, well, I want to use cannabis, I think it can be effective for sleep or for working out or whatever. How do I now navigate that? And is there a way to navigate that on BudTrader.com?
So my advice to like any new cannabis patient that's coming in cold, like that has no frame of reference, is like
Smoke Deuces 22.
Smoke Deuces 22, but like tie in with a doctor that has taken his continued education for cannabis, that can recommend it. In California and other states, where they have legal cannabis, and talk to him about what symptoms you're trying to alleviate. And see if cannabis is right for you, and if it is, the doctor can probably point you in the right direction of what you should try for what your ailments are. And then when you go to the dispensary too, tie in with a good bud tender. So it's kind of like your bartender, but I feel like it's a little bit more than that. Like when I go to some of the dispensaries I go to, like the bud tender kind of knows me, knows what I'm looking for, and I feel like I get more sincere kind of recommendations. There's kind of a trust like with bud tenders. There's a lot of brands that are trying to like butter up the bud tender to push their product, or like get them lunch or send them to stuff or get them tickets. And it's like, I don't like that. I feel like it's like the pharmaceutical companies like trying to bribe the doctors. You
Well,
know?
I think they're going to start creeping into this industry now that they see it's going to be legal pretty soon, and I think that's going to be one of the dangers that we have.
It's not a danger, but I'm gonna answer that
Yeah.
part. But just to add on what Brad was saying, so if you need to sleep, you can go buy across the counter something with melatonin in it, right?
Yep.
If you are a hyper person, melatonin is going to keep you awake. If you're not, then the melatonin will put you to sleep. Now that's something put over the counter. So you have to know that about your body. If you're going in and you're trying to buy the cheapest thing for your situation, then you're cheapening yourself. You should buy what's necessary for yourself. People literally save money to go buy Jordans just so they can look good but feel bad. That to me has priorities in the wrong spot. Now, as far as being dangerous, there hasn't been any reported deaths of cannabis ever.
Yeah.
But there's been every 5 or 3 minutes there's a DUI.
Yeah.
So this is a safer alternative. If you do get paranoid from it, yeah, take less.
Yeah.
So real quick, I got to talk on the DUI thing. So I've heard this, and I believe it to be true. I've heard it from a number of people in our industry, is that if you've smoked too much weed or consumed too much cannabis and you feel high but you don't want to drive and you want to kind of come out of it quick, you can take CBD oil or CBD drops, and it kind of balances you out and it can bring you out quick.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just further proof that like cannabis is better than alcohol, because you don't have to try to sleep off a DUI or do I look drunk or smell my breath and all this. It's like you could literally use, I believe, CBD oil to help you sober up if you think you've smoked too much or done too much edibles or whatever.
Or you can just stay where you are.
And that too.
Which you're probably inclined to do anyways.
Which is smart enough to do that because you open up your peanut. Okay.
When we were in Sundance, we did a gifting suite there, BudTrader, and it's like, it was cool having a cannabis company.
BudTrader.com?
BudTrader.com. But it was funny because there was like all these networking events and after parties. So you could tell like the guys that smoke were very just like content. These are great parties. Like these brands spent all this money on all these details and all this stuff, and it's like a great time, good food and good people. But then there was like the alcohol guys they were antsy. They were like, let's check out the other party. Oh, I heard that Netflix is having a party. I heard all the girls are at the Acura party or whatever. And it was like you could see that like so like what you said, like if the people that were going to get a DUI for weed, they wouldn't drive.
Yeah.
Because they would probably just be content where they were at. They wouldn't be trying to, I call it like upgrading. Like there might be a better party. Let's try to roll the dice and upgrade.
Not that BudTrader had anything to do with cannabis in Utah. He's just saying people who smoke weed were easier than the people who were already drunk at Sundance, right?
Correct.
Yes,
I'm not
exactly.
saying that there were people consuming cannabis.
Just said the
there.
cannabis guys were way less antsy.
The ones he could observe from afar.
Yeah.
We did the Lord's work in Sundance, because we handed out 1,200 BudTrader beanies, and it was like
Oh, nice.
18 degrees.
Yes.
I remember I said, how long do you think it'll take to hand like 1,200 beanies out? And it took us about 8 minutes.
Jeez.
It was so
Wow.
cold. The interesting thing too is like at night when there was the parties, like there were girls that would just wear like the party dress with no jacket or like mittens or anything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I felt like a helicopter parent. It's just like, you didn't wear a jacket. Like, do you want to wear mine? And like, you have a cocktail dress on. And it's 15 degrees and it's 2 a.m. in
People
Utah.
suffer at Sundance, I tell you.
I mean, but the dress looked good. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
you don't feel it.
It goes
She
back
made it to 2 a.m.
Yeah, and then
You don't feel it
but then the crazy
when
part
you
too.
wear a dress.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but the crazy part too is like there's a lot of falling and stuff around like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in parts of Utah. So it's like, is it from the ice,
Yeah.
or are they drunk, or is it both?
It's both.
But to get serious again, it goes back to what John was saying about like people will save up money to buy brand new Jordans, but they don't take care of their health. Like, yeah, there was beautiful women in cocktail dresses in 4-inch heels or whatever, like in Park City, Utah, but it's like, they probably should have had a jacket on too. Like, probably wasn't best for their health. I mean, they look good.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
they're also
it's better to look good than to feel good.
I just don't want to get pneumonia or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I almost got it.
A question I had for you guys is getting the big pharmaceutical companies like the Philip Morrises and those guys, when they start to, and my belief is that the administration will probably try to make marijuana legal at a point when they get the ear from their big friends that, oh, we're ready to move in. How do you think smaller players are able to kind of safeguard the industry from people that might try to come in and cheapen it?
Okay, so in 1919, none of those pharmaceutical companies went to do business with Jack Daniels. None of them went to do business with Crown Royal. So to think just because they are known to go in and take over things that we consider to be medical. Remember, alcohol used to be considered medical at one time as well. The companies that I think that will get involved are the cigarette companies, because part of the reason people are having a problem with smoke is the campaign against cigarettes.
Yeah.
So that idea of smoke in your lung being bad for you. Well, yes, cigarette smoke or nicotine in general in Maine, along with about, I think it's 17 or 18 other things that are addictive in cigarettes, those are the things that cause you to have lung problems. But when you smoke cannabis, literally, as I said earlier, we have an endocannabinoid system. It enhances your lungs. Proof of that is I heard Michael Phelps smoked weed. I heard Usain Bolt smoke weed.
Yeah.
I know some NBA champions who smoke weed, can run all day. So it obviously is good for the lungs and different than you would get from smoking a cigarette. So we're preparing our brand to sell to the cigarette companies, because if they get something of a high quality and they have to hold it to that quality, we then won't get the cheap mentality. We would get the Dunhill of the cigarette brand. We would get the the Spirit. What is it called? The one that is natural.
Spirit,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to be purchased by a conglomerate, or you want to sell to them, not sell out, but sell to them, you sell them a point and you hold them to that point, and you can put that in all of your negotiations. It's never what you're worth; it's what you negotiate.
Well, to kind of touch on what you said about, are they coming? Like, yes. Like, I feel like big pharmaceutical, big tobacco, big alcohol, like, they're trying to figure out a way in. Like,
Good.
there's- And you know, more power to them. And one advantage that we have right now, like, in the legal cannabis market is until I think the federal government reschedules it, like, we still have a bit of a head start.
Yeah.
So, like, Goldman Sachs won't try to squash me like the fly I am right now, but after 2020, if the administration, you know, makes some
When?
changes, or when the administration makes some changes, you know, when the time is right on a national level and it gets rescheduled, like, that's when the big boys are going to come in.
And this
So
administration is paying attention.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
one
they-
that's in power now.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
they're definitely paying attention, and one thing that I brought up a lot of times, and other people, including this administration, has brought up, is that, like, the legalization of cannabis and hemp and what this movement's doing is, like, it's going to create generations of wealth that we've never seen before. But the people that are going to benefit the most are, like, the farmers, the salt of the earth. Like, guys that used to make $3,000 an acre are going to make $50,000 an acre now. Like, they have the best crop. It's a crop rotation crop. It can grow with no water. It can grow in the worst soil. Like, it's a gift from the Lord. And the people that are going to really crush it and create vast amounts of wealth are the salt of the earth. It's on the 8th day God invented the farmer. Isn't that that famous speech or whatever? So it's like these are the people that are going to be the new millionaires, and that transfer of wealth to me is exciting. Like, I'd rather have, like, the honest farmer that's kept me and my family alive for years having that wealth instead of some Wall Street guy, you know? So it's like there's going to be, it hasn't happened yet because people haven't realized it, but there's going to be a boom of people trying to buy land, trying to grow hemp, because it's too easy to grow and you can make too much money
And
from
with
it.
climate change, you're going to see people moving to these areas of the country that are in the middle, that, you know, there's vast areas of land.
I
So
was
that's-
just at a meeting last week where I was in Crenshaw, and they're talking about how to, like, either access land or retail space. It's like it's a big thing because people who didn't normally have access or wealth, now they're banding together to create businesses for cannabis. So it's
Finally.
yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, because, like, people that maybe used to grow tobacco or something else, were, you know, it was, or they were raising cattle, are switching to, I'm going to get rid of cattle and I'm going to grow hemp, or I'm going to try to grow cannabis, and it's exciting. And, like, to touch on kind of climate change or whatever, like, one of the most effective organic materials on planet Earth, and John's going to be my spot check on here. Is hemp. I mean, hemp can remove carbon from the atmosphere, can remove toxins from the soil. They planted it at the power plant that went down in Japan or whatever when they had the
Fukushima.
the tsunamis and stuff. And it's like there's no traces of radioactive material. Like, it can take radioactive material out of the soil. So like imagine when everybody's growing it
And
How
studying
clean-
it, and we just haven't had federal funds to study other types. Yeah.
So I mean, to me, like feeding the world,
Yeah.
removing carbon from the atmosphere, like removing toxins from the soil, like shout out to AOC, the freshman congresswoman. She wants to save the world. She's saying the world's going to end in 12 years. Like, with all due respect, Congresswoman, like, I love the enthusiasm, but like you're wrong. We're gonna
Maybe that world, maybe that thought process.
in the political world, but like I think we can save the world in less than 5 years, and I think we can do it for a lot less than what she had proposed. I mean, we need 4% of the lower 48 growing hemp, and we can power and fuel and feed the entire U.S. population. I mean, 4% is nothing.
Yeah, and I think we're on track for it because this has been a chaotic administration. But one of the areas that hasn't been chaotic, I mean, one of the areas that hasn't been chaotic is one of the issues that's always been a hot button issue. It seems like actually Republicans and Democrats are on the same line in terms of like trying to get marijuana more legal. It just hasn't been the crazy issue it's been in the past.
It hasn't helped. It hasn't helped them get elected.
Yeah.
Except for our governor. It helped because when he was running, and Gavin said he was behind. I was in a year ago, I took pictures with him, and he has been an advocate and trying to push toward this new way of thinking. It's forward thinking is going to help the state of California and the other 30 states that have adopted it. The 9 that have gone recreational have shown how much money is coming on taxes. So maybe we might get school lunches back. We might be able to get some instruments.
Yeah.
I want more than that. I'm sorry. Like,
maybe some roads that don't have holes in them.
Yeah.
well,
Right?
no, with the amount of like, so one thing too is like, no disrespect to Governor Newsom, but like we got to start talking. Like the California cannabis industry and our elected officials, like there is no line of communication. So they don't necessarily, when they do stuff like, oh, there's a 3% tax cut recently, like that's one of 10,000 problems we have. Like that's, if I have 10,000 paper cuts, that's one Band-Aid and a little bit of Neosporin. It's not enough.
But what he's saving, so you have to understand the position of the governor. What he's saving is the wine industry. This is the first time that beer has taken a hit. Only Mexican beer is the only one that hasn't taken a hit. Wine took a 30% dip. So to protect the wine industry in Napa, in Sonoma, in St. Louis Obispo, Temecula, they're leaning toward the ones who helped them that way. But they are even changing in the wine country, realizing that they do have soil, like he said. We can grow things around that literally help you. We put a plant at the vineyard I was with, was Colachance. They literally put plants around it which deterred animals or insects from eating their grapes. And they were completely organic, sustainable. That is the way of doing it. And if you're smart, you cut half your crop into weed and the other half into wine. Not mixing them, but literally figuring out what the future is. So if, like for real, if all of a sudden I'm growing grapes and that's what I've grown, but I'm not selling, and I start growing olives and the olives start selling, that's what a farmer does. So it's as he says, I understand too. And I understand we have these problems, but the only politician, I remember when I first talked to Mayor Villalobos and he was going to run, and he was talking to me, and I said, you have to get on the right path with the people who are pushing cannabis. That would help you in your run. And he was like, yeah, if it's going to do jobs, if we're going to say this and say that. I said, if you go in there with politics and go in there with the so-so, they're not going to buy into it. I didn't buy it that much into it. I stepped out of the political world. But as he said, conversation is very important. This is changing everything. I've been up to Humboldt where their schools are not wanting anything because the community of those cannabis growers take care of their own. Every community can do that.
And I think that like here in California, with how big our market is, like if we just bringing back school lunches isn't enough. Like we should have the best roads and the best schools and the best infrastructure. And like if we're not crushing it and we're not finishing it first, and education and transportation and air quality and everything else, like we need to throw all these guys out and get new guys, because like they'll be flush with tax revenue from the cannabis industry, or guys or women or whoever, like someone that can just figure it out. Like we're gonna give you, ladies and gentlemen, elected officials, more tax revenue than you've ever had from anything else. Like talk to us a little bit so we can make it even better, so that we can put all that money back into roads and schools. But if we don't have Oxford professors like bust out here to teach like finger painting to kindergartners, like we should have the best schools and teachers here in California with the amount of tax revenue these guys are having, in my opinion.
Easily. But you guys have something on the horizon, the BudTrader Ball. You're hosting the BudTrader
Yes,
Ball.
along with my daughter Tyler.
Oh,
and
nice.
But really me. I'm hosting it. Brad asked me. I said yes before he asked me. The location is unbelievable. Remember the address?
I don't have the address, but it's going to be at the Wisdom in
Wisdom.
Los Angeles, in downtown LA. And I do appreciate you agreeing to host the BudTrader Ball.
But what can we
yeah.
expect? Because like when you hear BudTrader Ball, what can you expect? What does that mean?
So this is our third BudTrader Ball, and every year when we first started, like our fans online and stuff, our users of the site were like, what are you guys going to do for 420? And we wanted to do something different, because there's the outdoor High Times party and the stuff in San Francisco and all that, and it's like that's been done, So we wanted to do something different. So it's like, let's show the world that the cannabis industry isn't a bunch of stoners, let's show them that we don't wear all tie-dye t-shirt every day and stuff, let's so
Not every day.
not every day, damn it, not every day. So like every once in a while. But so we wanted to have this like red carpet black tie event. Everybody had to come, it was a strict dress code. I ordered ice sculptures and it was a lot of fun. So this is the third year we've done it, and every year it kind of gets bigger and bigger. We wanted to continue to kind of do something different, like do things differently, like make people think about the industry and us differently. So, at BudTrader, before we started BudTrader, we were a technology company. We built software and mobile apps, and we were tech guys that were also cannabis enthusiasts. So, well, now like that same tech mentality, like we've taken it to BudTrader, and like there are people and companies that understand technology in this space. Like John's involved with a lot of them, as I with BudTrader, and it's like, so we wanted to create something different for the BudTrader Ball, like a technologically advanced experience that combines the best parts of 420, which is cannabis and music and video games and virtual reality and food. So like that is what we prepared for the BudTrader Ball on 420, is that the Wisdom is this virtual reality park. There's 5 giant domes, and it's an immersive virtual reality
The
experience.
address is 1147 Palmetto Street, Los Angeles.
Wow.
1147 Palmetto Street in Los Angeles. But you can find more info at budtraderpromo.com or budtrader.com.
BudTrader.com?
Budtrader.com. It's free. Check it out. It's like LinkedIn and Craigslist for weed. But anyway, so we started kind of planning it. We talked to the people at the Wisdom that we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something crazy, and we found out quickly that they were crazy like us, so it was great. Nice. We started coming up with like this virtual reality experience that's going to, we have musical acts and these brilliant, celebrity musicians that are going to perform at different times, and their performance is going to sync with the virtual reality experience that our guests are going to be having, and they don't have to wear a headset or anything like that. It's all done inside these domes, and so it's the combination of, like we talked about, opening up your mind and opening up, seeing the universe and seeing the world. It's like this virtual reality experience with the combination of music, which there's a direct correlation between cannabis and music, like we know that.
And we're trying to do some augmented reality as well. I'm trying to convince them.
We are working on trying to do some augmented reality as well with another company that John's involved in, where
Ethos Media Labs.
Ethos Media Labs. So we're
on IG.
Yeah. So it's going to be like it's going to be the greatest show on earth. Like I've said
That's
that.
amazing.
Some people, I got flack for it, but it's like on 420 on planet Earth. Like I don't know of a better party. I don't know of a better celebration.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I'm like, wow.
And what's neat about it too is that there's all kinds of different people that come to the BudTrader Ball. So it's not just leaders in the cannabis industry or celebrities. There's my dentist is coming.
Well, you have a lot of CBD products on display too, right?
Yeah, and then there's a lot of cannabis brands and leaders in the cannabis industry that have exciting and new products. So they're there, and so there's a lot of cool stuff you get to see. It's like it's the best day of the year. It's better than Christmas in my opinion, because it's weed Christmas.
And it's warm.
And it's warm, and we have weed, and I don't. At Christmas
And no
time,
bad songs, no ugly sweaters, no mix up with religion and tradition.
no bringing up politics at the dinner table.
None,
None.
You don't have to deal and have a fight with a bad uncle, or see your sister that you didn't want to see. This is the best place to bring your family, get everybody high, and then talk about your problems, not argue.
So we'll talk about self-care 420. It'll be
Yes.
self-care on April 20th. But one of the things we do like
Did I
to
give
do,
you the address? 1147 Palmetto Street, Los Angeles, California, 913.
He's good.
Just
He's
thought
good.
I'd
At
just
the
mention
Wisdom?
it. At the Wisdom. Okay, sorry, Shaka.
I always thought I was a good promoter, but like
Yeah,
I,
this is another level,
I'm definitely the student.
Yeah, I did play NBA basketball
Yeah.
19 years ago, and they still mention it. So I realized how to use it to my benefit to get in to talk about what I want to speak on.
Well, it works, and,
Yeah,
and thankfully you're speaking on some
masterclass.
good stuff because we're very happy. But we do something called our Fit Club 5 at the end. We didn't have this when you came last time, so this is new. 5 rapid fire questions. You give us your first answer. Great way for the viewers to get to
Brad,
know
you
a
go
little bit
first.
more.
Okay.
Okay.
Costume party or pool party?
Costume party, because I don't look good by the pool. Oh, wait. Still my turn or no?
Yeah,
Yeah, still your turn.
Okay.
Cubed ice or crushed ice?
Crushed.
If you were to listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chronic 2001, man.
What is the one thing you love about yourself?
That I don't give up, like the great Rocky Balboa. That's like the cannabis community. I'm a metaphor for us. Like we take hits, but we keep going. You're not going to stop this movement. Just like the great Rocky Balboa, you know? He defeated the Soviet Union in the 80s, you know?
He
like
lost to
defeated him.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, that's true. I miss Apollo, man.
I missed
like,
Apollo too. Michael B.
Dream dinner guest.
Dream dinner guest. I've already done that. The great John Salley. We went to Craig's and I had the Impossible Burger and it was delicious.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And last person you text.
Rob, who did we text on the way here? Oh, I texted you to say that I'm on my way. Yeah. And I said I'm parking. Oh yeah, I said I was parking. I had to get my lucky shirt.
Nice.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Pictionary or charades?
Charades.
Late owl or early riser?
Late owl.
If you were to, what's your favorite meal?
Vegan.
Impossible Burger.
I would say, they don't pay us yet. So I would definitely say a vegan meal that I prepare.
Okay. Who would play you in a movie?
Oh, I would definitely play me. But if I had to have somebody in a role, I don't know any 7-footers sexy that can act like they are. So their acting skills, and until they get 12 movies or 13 movies under their belt, I don't know.
What about LeBron? If he was like, John, I want to play you. And
My God, if LeBron, that'd be a different step for him because he's about to save the world with Space Jam 2. But yeah, I would definitely play myself.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali did it. Richard Pryor did it.
Always early or always late?
I'm always on time.
Weekends or weekdays?
Every day is beautiful day for me.
That's a good answer.
Matter of fact, it's the same day. Believe it. Let me tell you this. There's no days. That is an illusion in our brain, just like time. It's an illusion, right? It was a great movie, Fifth Element. People need to go back and watch it for what they were saying. And they were like, well, what about time? He said, time does not matter, only life. Yep. So it's really not anything. In about 10 minutes, I'm not going to be sitting around you guys. And the day doesn't matter, whether it's Sunday through Friday. You want a great day. If it's a great day, it doesn't make a difference if it's a Monday or Friday.
I'm just glad that you worked in the Fifth Element into our interview because that is a great like sci-fi action movie that doesn't get enough credit.
It doesn't get
It's
credit.
great.
You got bad because of the people who are afraid of the LGBTQ community. Like they didn't like Chris Tucker dressed in drag slish, but he was very
hilarious.
He was very manly. It was funny. They didn't like the outfits, and they just didn't have any foresight. I think it was a great movie.
Oh,
I think so too.
We need a master class with
I was
Oprah
gonna
or the Cannabis Oprah. That's what you guys should do.
Why
in
can't
the
I just
studio.
be John Salley?
John
He's
Salley.
so much
John
easier.
Salley Miyagi.
Yes,
I was like, I
that
feel like
part.
And the Lakers used to call me Sensei. It's because literally this is not BUS. This is not B. This is not bull. It's not. It's not bull. I'm a vegan. But if you want beef, no. But
I got some food.
If you want the beef, John will bring the ruckus.
right, no question. But the deal is, I literally live this lifestyle because I've lived the other one. I've lived being angry. I lived being upset. I lived jealousy. I lived resentment, guilt. I've done that. Mm-hmm. Like he said, he was raised Roman Catholic. I'm raised a Jehovah's Witness. So certain things in religion had already given me a false start until I realized that wasn't the start I should be at. I shouldn't be at your thought process and your traditions. I should be at just being the best human you can possibly be. So being the best human, I found out John Lennon said, all we need is love. And when I really put attention to that, that's all I use.
No, for real. Like even before the show started, like you are you've affected me, and I think Shaka
Yeah.
too, in a different thought process. We both are looking for other things, are exploring other things beyond what society's telling us, and we really appreciate you for coming in.
Well,
And
yeah, thank you.
words of wisdom for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Society doesn't tell you. It's what you listen to and what your actions are. They're put there to control. It's a control technique. Another great movie, The Book of Eli.
Yep.
It's an important thing because the world was in disarray without control. So that's one way, but it's also how you control you and how you go about every single choice in your life is your choice. How you react to it, what you say, what you don't say. When somebody cuts you off, are you really yelling at them because they can't hear you?
In the Book of Eli, too, like the most powerful thing in that post-apocalyptic world was knowledge.
Yeah.
They were out trying to find books.
Yeah.
Like they weren't trying to find guns. They weren't trying to find water or resources. Like they were trying to find books. You know?
Definitely. One in particular.
One thing real quick, just before we stop, like I want to thank you too, John, like for everything that you've done for me and for
BudTrader.com.
and, you know, you take a lot of time to help myself and other cannabis entrepreneurs, you know, selflessly, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. I mean,
Don't
there's-
make me cry, man.
No, I mean, and it's, you know, for someone as busy as you that has your schedule to always make time for, again, like, you know, cannabis entrepreneurs like myself and other ones that I know you mentor, like, it means a lot to us and
Thank you.
and for what you do for the movement. So I really
Thank
appreciate
you. I
it.
appreciate that.
And we obviously got to thank you guys for coming on.
Shaka, man, no problem. I thought you were gonna have a shirt by the next time. You're gonna have a bud sweat. You're gonna be bud traded up, dog.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. When I knew I was like coming back on the show, when you agreed to let me come back, I appreciate that. By the way, I was like trying to hit it a little harder at the gym because I was like, maybe if I'm, you know, if I bulk a little bit, I'll get invited back. And
Hey, I'm just
you know.
trying to promote myself. I'm
Got
just, you know, I'm just trying to get myself out there.
boy.
But want to thank you guys again. This was incredible. Again, we got to have you guys back. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the ball when we're back from the ball. So we'll have a little post wrap up on that. Again, guys, my name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad.
And you can find me at johnsalley.com or John Salley on Instagram and budtrader.com.
And
Yes.
your business?
And my business is Deuces22. If you're not smoking my weed, you're not smoking good weed.
Follow us on Instagram, Real BudTrader. We don't have enough love on Instagram. We need to work on it more though. It's our fault.
Yeah, follow them. We'll see you guys next week. And as they
All right.
say, deuces.
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 On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.